Hey everyone, this is your stimulus check update, second stimulus check update, and stimulus package update for Monday, October 5th. This video is for those of you on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and VA benefits, and for anyone else that's wondering about the second stimulus check and the stimulus package negotiations. In this video, I'll be going over the following topics. First off, Stephen Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi are continuing the stimulus negotiations on the next stimulus package, which includes a $1,200 stimulus check for individuals, as well as many other things. Both sides are showing a lot of optimism right now that a plan could be reached somewhat soon. While there is some optimism, what are the major hang-ups that are still holding up the negotiations from being finalized and a bill being passed and signed into law? And last of all, I'm going to be talking about Nancy Pelosi and her interactions with the airlines and why it might mean that a stimulus check is coming soon. I want to welcome back those subscribed members of my channel. Thank you once again for watching. And for those of you that haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe to my channel right now and hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified each and every time I upload a new video. And if you find the content helpful in this video, be sure to hit the like button so that YouTube will share it with others like you. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin have continued stimulus negotiations over the past few days, and it seems like we might be moving towards a deal finally. Last week, the House passed the $2.2 trillion updated HEROES Act, which included $1,200 stimulus checks, $600 per week unemployment benefits, as well as many other provisions for the next stimulus proposal. However, that deal is not expected to have any chance of passing in the Senate, but the stimulus talk negotiations are still going on, and some of the things that were included in that bill, which I think will be included in the final stimulus package, are $1,200 stimulus checks for individuals, including those that are on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and VA benefits. In addition to this, that deal, and I think the final deal, would also include $500 stimulus checks for those of you that are claimed as dependents on someone else's taxes and were left out of that first stimulus check from the CARES Act. Also included in this deal would be unemployment benefits of between $400 and $600 per week, increases to SNAP and WIC programs, as well as rental and mortgage assistance. While I don't think that updated HEROES Act is exactly what the next stimulus package is going to include, most of those provisions I just talked about should be included, if not all of them, in the final package deal. And the good news is, the two sides seem to be getting down to the details of what the final proposal and what the final package could be. Back when talks broke down back in August, before their last recess, one of the biggest issues was they didn't even have any of the final details to negotiate. This time they're actually going over detail by detail and saying, okay, this is something we need to work on and this is something we don't agree on. Let's come to a compromise and get something agreed to. That's the way the stimulus talks are going right now, and it's actually moving forward pretty well. There is a lot of optimism that's coming out on both sides right now, and that's something that hasn't happened in a couple months actually. So even though there are some areas where they both disagree on, the sides seem to be coming together. Nancy Pelosi told CBS News, "We're making progress," and added that she hoped that Republicans would agree on what we need to do to crush the virus. Pelosi said last Friday that Trump's COVID diagnosis could also speed up negotiations and that it changed the dynamic of the talks. And she also said, quote, "I'm optimistic. I'm always optimistic. We always have to find a plan. That is our responsibility to do so, and I believe that we will." So I'm hoping that Nancy Pelosi is right and that they will reach a deal and an agreement finally, something that we've all been waiting for so many months now. It does sound like they are getting close. President Trump tweeted over the weekend, "Our great USA wants and needs stimulus. Work together and get it done. Thank you." And White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows also said that Trump's enthusiasm is as high as ever for a stimulus package deal. One of the people in Washington that never seems to be optimistic is Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. He did, however, sound finally optimistic about the chance of them reaching a deal for the next stimulus package when he said, "I'm trying to figure out here whether I should predict another bill quickly or not, but the talks have sped up in the last couple days. I think we're closer to getting an outcome." This is the most optimistic I've seen Mitch McConnell in months, and probably the most optimistic I've seen him since we've been negotiating this next stimulus package deal since May. So although there is a lot of renewed optimism from both sides, there still are a few sticking points or a few roadblocks that are keeping us from having a deal finalized. But I think these can be overcome, and they are working through these issues. But these issues that remain are, first of all, the overall package price. The overall package price is something they don't quite agree on, and Nancy Pelosi wants to stick to that $2.2 trillion number, while Stephen Mnuchin and the White House and the Trump administration and the Republicans in the Senate all want to keep that number lower than $2.2 trillion. It does sound like at this point they're about $362 billion apart. Now that sounds like a huge number, and it is, but it's much closer than they have been previously, which at one point there were gaps of over $1 trillion that they were still far apart. So $362 billion is about as close as they have been in months. So other than the total stimulus package price, these are the details of what they're still working through. First off, the amount and the duration of the unemployment benefit. The updated HEROES Act as well calls for $600 per week. The Stephen Mnuchin, the White House, and kind of the Senate Republicans plan calls for $400 per week and for a less amount of time. The next thing that is keeping negotiations from being finalized is the amount of money that will be allocated for state and local governments. In addition to this, there is some disagreement on tax credits for children and families. And the last one is how coronavirus testing and tracing funding will be used, and kind of the verbiage on how it will be used. That's one of the other sticking points in negotiations. None of these seem to be deal breakers at this point, which is great news. And it does sound like there could be a deal as early as this week. So one of the major parts of this next stimulus package is the airlines and a bailout for the airline industry. Some of the communication from Nancy Pelosi to the airlines is actually shown, to me at least, that there could be a deal that could be coming soon. Nancy Pelosi made a statement to the airline industries that a deal should be coming shortly and that they should hold off on furloughs and layoffs. Many people have wondered why the airline industries need another bailout and need some assistance during this time, and Nancy Pelosi said regarding this, when workers in the airline industry are fired, unlike other industries, it takes months or years for them to be recertified for security clearance. So basically, if the airlines have to lay off or furlough people, or basically if they let people go, then it will take months or even years for them to recertify and hire back on a lot of these same people. So basically, it takes a lot more work for an airline employee to be rehired than it does in a lot of other industries. It does sound like the two options for an airline industry bailout include a standalone bill. There have been both in the House and the Senate standalone bills that were proposed, but neither of them passed. Or it will be part of a comprehensive stimulus package. That's really what we're hoping for, because the airline industry bailout is something that is high on the priority list for both sides. And so if an airline bailout happens as part of the overall stimulus package, that's going to be an extra push for them to get a deal done. The previous support for airline payroll started back in March and ended last Thursday. So the airlines have basically said, okay, we're going to start furloughing people. And this was mostly American Airlines and United Airlines that have said, we're going to start furloughing people if we don't get assistance soon. Nancy Pelosi sent out a statement to the airlines and also said to airline executives, don't fire people. You know that relief is on the way. Airlines started furloughing people last week and have said that they will furlough up to about 33,000 people if they do not receive more aid soon. And United Airlines said in a statement last Friday, as we said earlier this week, we are eager to reverse the furlough process once Congress has passed legislation to extend the CARES Act payroll support program, but they need to act quickly. We're hopeful that the widely expressed bipartisan support for saving airline jobs will lead to a legislative breakthrough soon. And I hope that's the case as well. It does sound like, once again, I've said this multiple times, but it does sound like the two sides are finally getting close to a deal. That would mean $1,200 stimulus checks. It would mean rental assistance, increases to SNAP and WIC benefits. Unemployment benefits would come back. It would include a bailout for the airlines, as well as many other things, the Postal Service, state and local governments, and other funding in other areas. But the good news is it does seem like they're getting very close to a deal. Hopefully that will continue, that Mnuchin and Pelosi will meet again today and hopefully move those talks even closer to a deal. Like I was saying, the best case scenario is they could reach a deal this week. If they reach a deal this week, we could see stimulus checks coming out within a week and a half. That's for those of you on direct deposit. So anyway, there is not a deal yet, but it does sound like a deal should be coming soon. I will keep you up to date. As always, thank you once again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you again soon.